Hello, everybody.
Yo, what it is?
I considering I've had the thing kind of robot on me before, that's why I was doing that. All right. Yeah, you may notice the sun glaring off of me. It's that tricky time. As y'all know, we just got to daylight savings time here, so all that is
You.
what was that, Tim?
I said, yeah. Daylight savings time.
Yeah. So the lighting's going to be a little tricky here. So for everybody else tonight, of course, we're going to be continuing our look through September 1939 of comics that went on sale. This week, we're going to be focusing on books that went on sale from Fox Feature Syndicate, which will include Wonder World Comics Volume 1, Number 7, and Mystery Men Comics Volume 1, Number 4. Among the features we'll be covering tonight will include, of course, The Flame, Patio Day, um, Green Mask, Blue Beetle, and Zanzibar the Magician. Tim, if you'd like to introduce yourself for a moment and plug any projects you're doing or share any links, you're more than welcome to.
I am Tim Olson, creator of Melvin, as you know, and upcoming projects: Melvin 3 and a secret project that will premiere on Fund My Comic. So, but nothing's happening yet. You there, Mike?
I'm here. I was just taking care of something while you were doing that.
All right.
So you don't have any links to share then, Tim?
Not at the moment. No.
All right. Well, anyways, let me just take care of one more little thing real
Oh,
quick.
I will recommend that everyone though go to Fund My Comic and back uh, John Dillard's Buckler Canadian Hustle book that will be our Canadian Tussle book that I'll be launching today on Fund My Comic.
All right.
So yeah, shout out to Dills.
Well, maybe you should send him the YouTube link. See if he wants to come watch us talk about comics here. Then Golden Age comics anyway.
Well, no, I think he's doing a launch party on his channel.
Okay.
He's just a cool guy most of the time.
All right. Alrighty then. So with all that being said and done, and all that taken care of, um, hopefully we'll get some people soon. But anyways, we are. Let's see, we're at 3 minutes 48. Um, so anything else you're looking forward to this weekend, Tim?
Not really, no.
All right. So, okay. So, um, let's get it. Oh wait, what am I doing? Wrong. Setting things up here. So I got that set up. I'm just right now just getting the book prepared. I was on another site there. Let's see. Oh, all right. So Wonder World comic. Up to number 7, of course. All right, with all that right there, let's see. Let's share that and then show the screen there. All right, so that's the first book we're going to be looking at right there.
I love that cover.
Hey, Woody.
It kind of reminds me of almost like Mars Attacks, almost sort of.
Yeah.
Yo, what up, Woody?
Yeah. Woody, if you can help out by liking and sharing the stream, see if we can get some more friendly people on here, that'd be appreciated. If you can.
Is this like kind of like like kind of a knockoff of Tales from the Crypt?
I doubt it because you have to remember Tales of the Crypt. This was done back in. So this book
Oh, this
is
is
on
before.
sale.
This is before Tales of the. Never mind. Never mind. I'm stupid.
Yeah,
Never mind. I don't know what I'm talking about.
this is
I would
obviously September of 1939. So this is way before Tales of the Crypt was even.
way before. It's stupid. I mean, Tales from the Crypt was like 50s. Dumb me. But maybe maybe the guys who founded EC Comics got inspiration from this.
That's possible. Um, I don't know if I think I did hear something along the lines a while back when I was looking at I was looking over the stuff when they were talking about the CCA and all that. EC Comics was actually one of those companies that was affected by the CCA because they were specializing in horror comics. So, so of course, on sale date is September. The cover date here, as you can tell, is November number 7 here. Thrilling adventures of the Flame in every issue. And there's the
Yeah, it's a superhero comic.
yeah. Yarko the Great, Master of Magic, K-51, Spies at War, Patty O'Day, newsreel reporter, Spark Stevens of the Navy, Dr. Fung, Super Sleuth of the Orient, and Mob Buster Robinson. So, and look at the girl right there.
So they were pretty big on like characters that would take on the mob.
Well, you have to remember this is the late 30s, so there was a lot of that mafioso influence in comics at that point. You remember many of the early Batman stories were, even before they introduced some of his more famous rogues galleries like Joker, Catwoman, and all that. Batman himself was dealing with a lot of
Mobsters.
yeah. So okay, The Flame by Basil Barold. Here we go. On a dark, foggy night, a boat anchors in a secluded cove. Her salt encrusted sides are evidence of a long voyage. A boat is lowered, and under cover of darkness, a strange procession comes ashore. Now, look at that. Scene shifts to a house nearby. Inside, an armed thug sits amusing himself with cards. Suddenly, there's a knock at the door. Hmm. I wonder who it is at this hour. I wish the boss was back. The place gives me the creeps. Wow, spooks! Stand back! Stand back! I tell you, or I'll shoot. Bang! Bang! Just then, a thin, sallow-faced figure pushes his way through the cadaver-like strangers, his mouth twisted in a leer. Monk, monk, where are you? Where did that fool go? There you are. Is it? Is this the reception I get for my homecoming? No kidding? No kidding, boss? I swear I didn't touch a drop. Tell me there ain't no skeletons in that room. Tell me before I go nuts. Come on out, you yellow weasel. They're not going to hurt you. These creatures are part of a tribe I came across in an unexplored section of the Gobi. Sometimes the lettering can be tricky. You may miss a letter here or there, eh?
Yeah, yeah. I've never been to the Gob.
Yeah, but then I saw the eye there. It really does have the Mars Attacks look, or rather, Mars Attacks has the look of this comic.
That is true. That is true. I mean, it might have influenced EC Comics and the Mars Attacks card series.
Yeah. So, anyways, anyways, uh,
You lose that your spot there, Mike?
no, I was trying to get the view count to go up, in the hopes at least it would. Still saying one, but I think Woody's still in here. I would hope. Sometimes if you don't really say anything in the chat, sometimes it will go down, and even if people are actually watching. They're each hundreds of years old because the environment of their country, their skins are so tough, bullets can't harm them. Their strength is terrific. It's almost like they are zombies, huh?
Yes, yes, but apparently bullets can't go through their skin.
um, but they have the mentality of children, and my word is law with them. I'm going to run a crime syndicate that will make every racketeer look like small fry. Now, could you imagine that for a moment, right? Imagine that for a moment, Tim. Running a crime syndicate where your foot soldiers are zombie-like creatures. That would really put the terror into anybody, wouldn't you say?
I suppose so.
The
Still, still, it's kind of a stretch from trying to get away from the mob stories, even though it's pretty much a mob story with you'll see a hero fighting
with a
mobs.
horror element to it. With a horror element to
Yeah,
it. Soon, terror stalked the streets of every large city in the vicinity. Robbery, pillage, even murder continued without a halt. Monsters attacked without warning, then disappeared into the night. Look at that. Can you imagine a creature like that coming at you?
no, not at all.
Uh, that would be horrific if you would go into a city and had one of those creatures coming at you. Ghostly reign of terror, millions stolen by live specters on rampage. Authorities admit situation is extremely serious. The Flame has noticed the headline. Hmm. Living specters? Once came I once came across a tribe of men of that description in Central Asia called the Kinkus. I'll have to look into this. They're called Kinkus.
Yeah, what a coincidence! The hero ran into him.
Yeah.
Is.
In the cities, the police are compelled to patrol their beats in well-armed groups. Here comes a pack of them. Men, we've got to stop them. Officers close in on the demons, and the sound of blasting pistols and rattling um, machine guns blends with agonized shrieks and breaking bones in a horrible confusion. Suddenly, a familiar figure appears. It is the flame. And if you've been catching some of our other times we've read the flame here, the smoke in there, he's probably going to be coming up to the smoke there. That's one of his powers, apparently. The flame leaps into the thick of the battle. All right, so I was wrong, even though that was listed as one of his powers. Smashing with might and and main the and main, the flame rips through the monsters. He is downed, but regains his feet. Almost. Notice how they say that he is downed, but he regains his feet. That's a very interesting way of saying it. We'd say it a little differently. Basically he was knocked down and got back up. That's how we'd say it today. You notice how they said it there, Tim?
Yeah, I did. I did.
And shakes off his adversaries. The odds against him are tremendous, and the flame dares not to use his gun for fear of injuring the police. Yeah, I think he's got a flame gun, if you remember the cover. Uh,
Yes, I do remember the cover.
I know you do because you like that cover, right?
Well, except for the flame, yes. The flame, they could remove the flame from that cover and just have zombies.
Yeah. Finally, the skeleton like men close in on the flame, and he is brought down by sheer force of numbers. Some time later, the flame finds himself in a strange room. Well, well, they've made me a prisoner and have taken my gun. Whew. But those fiends were a fearsome lot. But I'm not licked yet. Hmm. Okay, bud. Come with me. Don't you try any tricks, or it'll be your finish. The boss wants to talk with you. Ah, so you're the flame. The fellow that's been battling crime so successfully until I came along. Now we shall see who is superior. Take him back to the pit and give him a taste of the lash. Perhaps that'll loosen his tongue. In the pit, his cloak is removed, and the flame is strung up by his hands. Again and again, the whip crashes down on his body, but his teeth are clenched in grim defiance. At last, the torture stops, and the flame is left hanging. As they leave, a cloaked figure emerges from the shadows. Shh, quiet. I've come to I've come to help you. Hold still. I'll get you down. A girl? Pretty too. Who are you? Drink, dr- uh, drink this first. It will refresh you. This week I'm not trying to go as high like last week. You know that? Oh
Oh,
wait,
okay.
huh?
I said, okay.
Were you here last week when I was trying to go like super high at times?
Nope.
Okay, so you don't even know what I'm talking about. Okay. Now I'll explain. I am an agent of my country. These creatures that brought you here are the Kinkus. They've lived for centuries in the land I come from. My government hid them from the rest of the world on a hidden reservation because of their inferior minds. Any evil person can lead them to great extremes of violence. Recently, the number of them that were induced to escape have already terrified society. It is my task to take them back. Oh, oh, only one thing can stop them: fire. Oh, look at it! Look at that! Look at her right there. Now we get a full body shot there, or at least somewhat of a full body
Yeah.
shot.
Kind of convenient that the only thing that can stop him is fire, and he's the flame.
Oh, I was just thinking. I wanted to know if you were thinking that was good girl right there with her. ah, here, here is your gun. I've managed to retrieve it for you. Now we must work fast. I am greatly indebted to you. Nonsense. It is I who should be grateful for finding aid in one so stalwart and courageous. Shh! I hear footsteps approaching. As the door opens, a Kinku enters. Just as he discovers that the flame is free, he is felled by a smashing blow. Hmm. His piercing cry sends out the alarm. Use the flame gun. It's our only chance. After him! Don't let him escape. Tear him to shreds. A woman too? Ho! Don't touch the woman. I'll tend to her in my own way. Wonder what that could possibly mean. Tim,
Oh,
you don't have any you have any speculations there, Tim?
I could imagine. I can imagine a lot.
Uh, the flame shakes off the first attackers. Gun! Use the gun! The Kinkus fall upon the flame from all angles, but the fire from his gun withers their lines like so much paper. Now they go from being like pretty strong to all of a sudden being like paper. Interesting transition there, huh? Huh. Frightened beyond the
Sorry,
capacity.
I forgot to mute. Isn't it because their weakness is fire?
Yeah, I mean, I know that, but I mean, think about it. Like bullets, don't hurt them, but yet flame does. Uh, Frightened beyond their capacity to think, the Kinkus fall back. Don't don't give ground. Get that blasted gun away from him. In their mad haste to retreat, the creatures fling the leader from their path, their sharp claws ripping huge gashes in his flesh. Ouch! That's gotta hurt. Imagine these creatures just clawing at you, right? uh,
Yeah, yeah.
ah. The house is ablaze, and with it, all the horror it has meant. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Kind of forgot. Let's see. The house is ablaze, and with it all the horror it has meant. All that remains for us to do is round up the Kinkus that have escaped. Thanks for your help. My ship is waiting, so we'll be off. Goodbye. Standing alone On the cliff, the flame watches the ship fade into the distance, bringing to a close one of the most grim memories of his many adventures.
You know what I thought at first? I thought that boat was on fire.
Yeah, I guess just the way, I guess the color scheme and the way they painted that probably um, probably gave that illusion. Wonderworld Comics is on sale about the 28th of every month. So, Tim, what did you think of that story?
It was okay. It felt pretty short.
I think from what I read, I think it was going to be just 9 pages. Anyways, on to the other story that we're going to cover from Wonderworld Comics. Here, let me just check how much time we got here. Okay, we're at 26 minutes. Okay, so we're still good to go. There's Yurko the Great. Shorty Shortcake in Guatemala. Look at that. Look at that artwork. Look at that artwork right there.
I see that. It's very
Pretty
cartoony.
interesting. Patio Day Newsreel Reporter. Here's the other one that we're going to get from this one. And that's her, that's kind of our cameraman companion, Ham, there.
Ham, you say?
Huh?
I said ham, you say?
Yeah, that's the name of the guy, Ham. That's what they call him in here. Uh, Patty, I want you and Ham to catch the Northern Clipper, make the crossing, and get some good pictures. Here's your pass. There she is, Ham. Isn't it a beauty? Big ship starts on flight. We're off. Pic- Pictures of this kind are too easy, Ham. I wish the steward would let us go into the tail of the ship. Wow, that's a camera she's got there? Wow, that's some big camera. I didn't even realize that.
Yeah, all cameras were pretty big back then. I think
Huh?
cameras. Let me see, because I know they had like.
That big spherical green thing right there. And then she's
Oh,
got it right here when she's taking pictures. I've
oh
never seen a camera like that before. Tim, you have any comments?
no, not really.
Huh.
It's a case.
Ho hum. I'm tired of this. Come on, Ham. We're going to get into the tail if we have to sneak in. They get past the steward who is talking to a passenger. Baggage room, eh? Yes, and we'd better hurry. A storm's coming. Oh boy. Now for some angle shots. While they work, a strange hand quietly turns the doorknob. Ham, look at the door. We'd better hide. It may be the steward. That's not one of the crew, and he's at the control wires. I'll stop that. Dirty work, huh? What? Okay, there's two possibilities there. You look at the guy's uniform. There's two possibilities there. What do you think those two possibilities are, Tim?
I don't know.
Well, the one thing is the possibility that they're assuming that he's up to no good.
Right?
Another possibility I'm thinking of, and I guess we'll see when we turn to the page here. Maybe he's one of the maintenance guys doing maintenance on the wiring.
That probably
If
could
you
be
know,
it.
the uniform there looks kind of more like a maybe like a workman's uniform or something to that effect.
Something like that.
Something like a. I just kind of noticed that, so I figured I'd point that out. I guess I guess we now know. I guess we now know what he's doing. I just saw the thing down there. Be be careful. Be careful. He's got a knife. I'm going to kill you. Drop it. The impact of the body breaks the control wire. That does it, and the pilot notices the effect at once. Something's wrong with the rudder. I'll investigate. He he tried to destroy the ship. Looks like we succeeded with that wire broken. Looks like he succeeded. With that wire broken, we are lost. The pilot is forced to land in the stormy sea. Huge waves pound the clipper, um, and the cabin starts to fill with water. We're going to sink. Better get everybody on the wings. Listen, everybody. The ship's sinking. Climb out through the hatch. Oh, they all here? The cabin's flooded. What is that woman shouting? Oh, Ham. Her husband is in the flooded cabin. I must save him. Here he is. Steady now. And since it's like kind of cloudy like that, I'm thinking that it's more, even though it seems like he's saying it, it's more like he's thinking it. That's why I'm doing this.
Oh, I see.
Made it. Oh, you've saved him, my dear husband. A ship. The alert, ship, the alert, ship's captain sees, the alert ship's captain sees the stricken plane. Man the lifeboats. Patty's getting some good shots. Look at that. She's taking care. Here comes the sailors coming
She's
to.
taking that camera everywhere.
Yeah, that's a pretty big camera to be carrying around if you really think about it. I mean, she definitely will. She definitely will. This is another take on Lois Lane, I guess. Huh? Uh,
Well, isn't it pre Lois Lane since?
no, Lois Lane has already been introduced by this point because Lois
Oh,
Lane,
really?
yeah, Lois Lane has been a part of Superman folklore from the beginning.
Really? I didn't
Yeah.
know that. I thought Superman appeared with it before Lois
No,
Lane.
Lois Lane was, I think, because you have to remember in Action Comics #1, even after the short flashback, it might have been one or two, but basically they still indicated that she was his coworker at that point. Um, you're
Oh,
the last. You're the last to leave the plane. Captain, I have pictures of your brave rescue. It is you who are the hero, miss. Captain, I must get these films to New York. When the storm lets up, I will send off a plane. Good luck, Miss O'Day. Goodbye, Skipper. Well, here we are, Ham. Glad to get back. You bet. I could use some sleep. Off for New York with the precious film. Okay, actually, that I should have read before. But anyways, here's the pictures of the Northern Clipper disaster. You have a scoop. Great work, Patty. Patty, I want to congratulate both of you for the best news picture of the year. You were swell. Wonder World Comics is on sale about the 28th of every month. Look at that. Look at the handshake right there, huh? Tim?
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. Looks like they had a little bit of a coloring mistake on that panel.
Uh, so what did you think of this story?
It was all right. I can see that the limitations of early comic books. They stuck to only certain types of stories. They didn't really try anything different. It was all
Well, they were just building up the media, and like at this point, you on the superhero side of it, of course, a lot of them. Well, you had a superhero genre that was growing. You still, and even from the early days, you had you still had a lot of the reprints that were focusing more on like the humor stuff. You did also have some like sci-fi stories, like I think Buck Rogers was in the comics at this point still. You also had some of the mafioso type stories. Um, Doctor Doctor Fung, Master Sleuth of the Orient. Here, we're just gonna breeze through here a bit because we're only gonna read those two stories. Tex Maxon, Hot Lead Mamba. Westerns were still quite popular. Wonders that are true. Man kills panther from Dakar, Africa. A young native learning of the horrible death of some of his tribesmen at the hands of a huge black panther, decided to take matters into his own hands. He waited in the jungle for several days until he came upon the beast, and leapt from a tree onto the panther and wrestled with it for hours, finally killing it by ripping its jaws apart. Wow, just right, just right, Tim.
yeah, yeah.
Odd crab. Professor Greuvel of a Paris
So
museum.
are these like old ads of like world
Well,
holders or are old like when ads of old oh, okay,
no,
wonders
this,
that are
this,
true.
this is not an ad. This is like unlike today where comics are just the comic story. And I've mentioned this before too. A lot of the books back here in the golden age like this were more akin to what like highlights.
Highlights, yeah, where they're
Like the
just
highlights,
being
you know how they'll have a different, they'll have maybe now in highlights. Of course, it's a magazine for kids, so they'll have a couple of comic stories, but they'll have like a pictograph story. They'll have articles and all that. They'll have a little mix of everything. The comics back in the golden age here were a little mix of everything. So this feature is called "Wonders That Are True." This is not necessarily a comic story. This is more like kind of it's kind of an article type story.
Ripley's kind of a Ripley's Believe It or Not thing.
Maybe to a certain extent. Actually, Ripley's Believe It or Not was a comic feature in one of these books, not Fox
I
feature.
remember that actually.
Yeah. Um, anyways, Professor Greuvel of Paris Museum reports a case of a crab which spent 29 years traveling from Port Said through the Suez Canal, the most expensive dummy in the world. Now, you know what a dummy is in this particular case, Tim?
Like like kind of like what Jeff Dunham does. Those
It's a ventriloquist dummy. In other words, it's
yeah
like basically it's a puppet that you place on the hand. Of course, um,
yeah that's pretty obvious.
yeah. Edgar Bergen, the voice of Charlie McCarthy, has had his dummy insured for a fabulous sum of money. Charlie's salary is $1,500 a week. Now, from what I understand, Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy here were a very popular ventriloquist duo back in the 30s and early 40s, from what I remember. Of
Oh,
course,
I see.
Bergen being the ventriloquist and Charlie McCarthy being the dummy. So, a football player on a Western College team took the ball on his own 3-yard line and ran within 7 yards of the enemy goal line. Then, realizing his error, ran the ball back. Okay, a football player on a Western College team took the ball on his own 3-yard line and ran within 7 yards of the enemy goal line. Um, okay. Um,
What are you trying to read here?
well, I'm trying to make sense of this because
A football player on a
yeah,
Western
I
college
get that. I
team.
get a football player on a Western College team took the ball on his own 3-yard line and ran within 7 yards of the enemy goal line. Then, realizing his error, ran the ball back down the field 90 yards um, to make a touchdown, um, and win the game for his team. So, okay, the guy started on
His own three. So he started from the touchdown he's trying to get to, and I'm actually kind of confused about that because when you're on
I
your
mean,
own,
okay, basically,
when you're on your own three, that means you're on the side of the field that you're starting on and trying to get to their three.
mhm.
No, on their three. I'm confused now too.
Yeah, I mean, ran 180 yards for okay. They didn't. I don't think they wrote this all that well because on his own 3-yard line, that means basically okay. So his own goal, what they're basically saying is that so let's just say for a moment that my left hand is where he initially was, and my right hand is, let's say this is his goal, this is the other team's goal, right. So he's over here on his own 3-yard line, and then ran within 7 yards of the enemy goal line, and then from what they said, he realized his error and ran the ball back down. So it sounds more like, at least the way they wrote that, it almost sounds like he basically went back to his own goal, and if he did that, that would be a safety
Well, I
for the
think
other team.
well, basically what they're saying is he ran the wrong way, turned around, and had to run back the right way.
They just did not write that all that well. to communicate that. That was
No.
what was kind of tripping me up there, because the way they wrote that was by how they were describing it. It was like basically
Yeah.
he didn't actually get a touchdown. He got a safety for the other team. It just it's a little screwy there. That's all I'm saying. Don Quixote in middle modern times, K-51 spies. Yeah, you had some swashbucklers here. Mob Buster Robinson by Harold Vance. This is another one, and I've read a couple. These stories are pretty good too. Again, another like kind of mafia, but this one, the kind of the different take on this one is instead of doing it from the perspective of the police officers in dealing with the mafia or a superhero, this one actually deals with it from a district attorney's point of view. Mob Buster Robinson is actually a district attorney, and they do it from his point of view. Movie memos by Glenda Carroll. Mae West once played the role of Little Lord Fauntleroy, so that made that's possible. And now movie memos now a lot of comics back in this time had stuff like this. How they have have the little trivia tidbits about some of the current stars of the day. Edward Everett Horton, shown about to sign an autograph for one of his admirers. Eddie is a bachelor and lives with his mother in a large house a few miles outside of Hollywood. So, all right. Gene Parker. Now, for the most part, I think most of these names, most of us wouldn't know. Like everybody knows Mae West, but again, these were some of the big stars of this time period. Gene Parker in this sketch, she appears as a sophisticated lady. Gene is really a wistful and lovable person. Most of her movie roles portray her as she really is. She is married to a New Yorker whom she met at a party while she visited there. Gene is one of the most popular stars with columnists who cover Hollywood. And then Robert Young. Now, Robert Young's another guy who was pretty well known back there. Has a gigantic jigsaw puzzle, which requires his whole drawing room floor to be laid out. So again, little interesting little trivia tidbits here that they go over here in some of these little side articles.
I see.
What was that?
I said I see.
Spark Stevens of the Navy in Cuba. So, all right, so we're done with that one. Now we'll get ready to go on to Mystery Men Comics, Volume 1, Number 4. Find it. Okay. And we'll be reading through, of course, Green Mask, Blue Beetle, and Zanzibar the Magician. So there's Green Mask right there. Now, I don't know if you were the one who read one of the earlier editions with me or not, but we noticed that his mask wasn't really green; it was more like blue. I don't know.
Might have been.
Do you kind of remember taking notice of that?
I was it. I remember you were reading a Green Mask story.
Yeah. So, Mystery Men Comics, cover date November 10 cents, number 4, starring in this issue Captain Savage, Sea Rover, Um, and quote, in a flash, Green Mass leapt into action, unquote. Natives, you got a girl there in trouble. Uh, 64 pages of thrills, mystery, exciting exploits in full color. Also, Rex Dexter, Blue Beetle, D13 Secret Agent. Oh boy, they look like they're about to throw the girl into the fire there.
Yep.
Let's see what all happens here. Let me just quick peek at where we're at on time here. So we're coming up on 51 minutes there. Wonder if Woody's still here. He hasn't said anything in a while. $25 for the best letters. So this is another thing. And of course, we unfortunately have something that we have to give a disclaimer for.
Didn't you read that? Read the same thing before?
No, I kind of skipped over in the other one, but here's a great opportunity to win some easy prize money. You know how well you like our exciting magazine Mystery Men Comics. Well, all you have to do is write us a letter, not longer than 50 words, telling us how you like Mystery Men Comics and why. So let me ask you something. You think when you were a kid, you think you would have done something like this if they suggested that you could win a huge prize? You,
I wouldn't. What? No, I don't know. I mean, like in the '80s, they still had those. Didn't they have those inserts that had like you could still buy and all kinds of like fake teeth and
hmm,
was that? Didn't they still have those in the early '80s?
maybe I don't know. Good point, I guess. Um,
Well, I never did. I mean, I got. I think I got in the '90s. I subscribed to Captain America 2 years in a row.
yeah.
And then
Also, which features you like best? Write your name, address, and age plainly on your letter. For the best letter, the prize will be $5. And for the next 20 best letters, we will pay $1 each. Send your letters in early. Contest closes November 15th. So trying to get a kid to write 21 letters to get $25. That's interesting.
somebody I can imagine some people back then doing it.
Contest closes November 15th. Address editor Mystery Men Comics, 480 Lexington Avenue. Um, there is something I do need to do here, real quick, since I'm going to go off camera for just a quick moment, because you can probably tell things are getting a little dim in my room here, so I need to
Okay.
put some light on. But why don't you Billy, give your impressions or talk to the chat or whatever while I'm gone.
Okay. Hello, chat. Maybe two or three people. I don't know. I find the early comics, as much as it's interesting, I find the stuff they wrote about pretty limiting, and it seemed all around about fighting mob, which I guess for the time is very relevant. But looking back, it's really kind of I don't know what's the word, lackluster and kind of, I mean, because I mean, if for me, you're, my real interest in comic books was started in the late '80s, and it was the late '80s on through the '90s is a very different time, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
So looking back on really old comics, it you just can you can kind of tell that that was a different time and place.
right. But it is kind of refreshing to go back, especially when you look at some of the stuff coming out now. You know,
Oh yeah.
now, mind you, too. Even though when we focus more on the hero stuff and stuff like this,
But that was written bad. The stuff now is written bad and from a different for different in a different for a different reason. This stuff is just because it was a very new medium and it's
mm-hmm.
it's still evolving.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, And you've been, we've also have read like Western story. Like last week, we read about a hero named Mighty Man who is more of a Western hero, at least in that story. Um, so um, you know, and in 19 like when new comics came out, up to this point it changed to more fun comics. We were reading Doctor Occult, which had more supernatural elements to it. So they did have different stuff. Maybe just this week, but again, we still got more stuff to get through because from the looks of it, Green Mask isn't going to be fighting the mob here. He's going to be fighting some tribespeople, and not in the same vein that not in the exact same vein that the Flame did. So let's get Green Mask by Walter Frame. I, Nicole, have made a scientific study of crime with my great brain. No one can apprehend me. I shall have the wealth of the world in my grasp. Extra National Bank looted. Okay, maybe I was wrong. Maybe we will have another of $50,000 clean getaway by bandits. Read all about it. That same week, and look at that, you see an armored car getting robbed. We interrupt this program to give a special news bulletin. The Acme Meat payroll was stolen from an armored truck today. $200,000 was the sum taken. I tell you, Commissioner, it's uncanny. The victims of each holdup say that they were held powerless by some invisible force. They couldn't move a finger. You've got to stop. You've got to stop them. My small paralyzing ray machine is a complete success. It will soon be the richest man in the world. I will soon be the richest man in the world. Truly, I am very clever. Nikolai, master criminal, gloats. At the Green Mask headquarters, these holdups are the work of someone above the ordinary in mentality. I've got to get busy. Okay, how might we say that today, Tim?
Let me see. These holdups are a work of someone above the ordinary in mentality. And I don't know. This seems to is above ordinary intelligence.
Hmm. Or we might say it something more like this criminal seems smarter than most criminals that we know of or deal with.
Same
This
thing.
guy seems smarter than a lot of the guys I deal with.
Exactly, same thing.
Yeah. So hello, news. This is GM. I want to get a line on who's behind these recent holdups. I'll meet you at the usual spot. Uh, oh, oh yeah. Hello. Oh, that's right. News is kind of his partner. Usual spot at 10 p.m. I'll be there on the dot with you on the job. We ought to crack this case wide open. At Nikolai's, your man can take it easy tonight. Report back tomorrow. Okay, Chief. At 10 o'clock, News Dokes, reporter, is waiting for the Green Mask. Wonder what's keeping the Green Mask. Ah, here comes the car now. It's all right, Dokes. I'm in disguise. we'll visit the underworld dives. Gosh, I'd never have known you. The disguised Green Mask and Dokes visit various places without success. Sure, a smart, sure is a smart mob behind, but sure is a smart mob behind the last payroll job. Uh, they're smart, all right. Must be out of town boys. No one knows where they are. At that moment, Nikolai's thugs enter. Looks like we're out of luck. Let's go. Just a minute. Set him up. Look at that roll of dough. Shh, quiet. Plenty, plenty more where dish come from. Sure, we'll just knock over another payroll truck. Pipe down, you're drunk. Let's go. They're the guys we want. They're the guys we want. Quick, let's follow them. You think these two are the ones we want? They're turning into that house. Put the put the car away. Some and get some sleep. Okay. As the drunken Pete comes out of the garage, the Green Mask knocks him out. Here's your sleeping pill. The Green Mask changes clothes with the thug and takes out his makeup box. Hold the mirror steady, News. Gosh, you're a wizard at makeup. You look just like Pete. Notice how they know the guy's name pretty quick there. Hey, Tim.
Yes, yes, they do.
Um, I don't even know if they were like really within earshot when the other thug called him Pete.
I don't know. I mean,
Anyways, the unconscious Pete is placed
all right.
in the. Oh, what was that?
You're all right. Yeah, you seem like you're having nose trouble there.
Well, yeah. Actually, if you can give me a sec here, maybe I'll try to do something here to just um, gonna go off camera here for a quick moment. Take care of it. Be right back. Yeah, I always seem to have nose trouble. But anyways, getting back to the story here. The unconscious Pete is placed in the Green Mass automobile. Um, I'm going into the house disguised as Pete. Take him with you and keep him under lock and key. Right. I'll wait for your call. Tony doesn't recognize the green mask. What kept you so long? I had trouble getting the car in the garage. Pete, Tony, come into my den. It's the boss. Let's go. It says here, the newspaper, uh, that the police commissioner expects an arrest in 24 hours. Ha ha. We'll give that fat pig something to worry about. What, Chief? I'm going to kidnap his daughter. Oh, look at that. Isn't that a common theme, Tim? You know, get to an officer or get to a police commissioner or anybody in authority by going after their family.
Well, they do that in action movies too.
Yeah. Ha ha! That'll be rich. Ha ha! Precisely. It will be rich. He'll pay. He'll pay plenty to get her back. The fiend. In order, in order to make it interesting, I'll send the commissioner a letter. What's this? A letter threatening my daughter. I'll. Dear Fat Commissioner, so you expect to arrest us within 24 hours? Well, within 24 hours, your daughter June will be kidnapped. Be sure to have plenty of cops around her. The professor. So the dude's calling himself the professor. Nikolai the professor. Isn't that
Nikolai the professor.
For the next 24 hours, I want a dozen men guarding my daughter. Nothing must happen to her, understand? Let us depart to kidnap the commissioner's daughter. Get the car, Pete. That should be good, haha. At least you boys will come in handy carrying my packages. Sergeant, do you really take that note seriously? Am I in danger? Probably just a crank, miss. But we can't take no chances. Give him the paralyzer, Tony. Let him have it, men. Ha ha! Look at them all stop dead. The paralyzer gun does its deadly work. What the? Oh! I can't move. The commissioner's daughter is transferred to Nikolai's car, which speeds away, leaving the police transfixed in their tracks where the paralyzer gun hit. Give our regards to the commissioner. Commissioner's daughter kidnapped, snatched in daylight while completely surrounded by police. Paralyzer again, full pursuit. Well, my dear, in spite of anything your capable father could do, we have kidnapped you. My father will capture you, you fiend. Green Mask discards his disguise as Pete and visits June. Who are you? Quiet. Just keep your chin up. I'll see that you'll be all right. Hello, news? Get some cops and come out to Nikolai's. Wait outside for my signal. I've got to silence the paralyzer guns. Silence the paralyzer guns. That'd be an interesting feat to see. Hey there, Tim.
Yeah, paralyzer guns. I didn't know there's such. You mean like tranquilizers?
No, his paralyzer gun shoots, I guess, some kind of beam that paralyzes people, that stops them dead in their tracks, basically.
Oh, I guess that.
So he's trying to
like,
silence that effect, I guess.
Oh, okay.
Tony sees the green mask and waits, knife in hand. The green mask ducks under Tony's murderous knife thrust. Green Mask. I stoop to conquer. Little boys shouldn't play with knives. You might get hurt. Nikolai appears on the scene. Drop that knife. Get the girl, Tony. We'll get rid of her and the green mask at the same time. It'll be a pleasure. What are you going to do? Shut up, you'll see. Observe closely, my dear. When I turn on the switch, the green mask will be slowly turned to stone. In the meantime, News and the commissioner are hidden outside Nikolai's home. But, Commissioner, you've got to wait for the green mask signal. My daughter is in there. We're breaking in. Quick, the paralyzer gun. The signal is on. Someone is breaking in. As the police come tearing in, Tony lets loose the paralyzer gun. They all fall motionless in their tracks. This'll slow you down. It's the cops. I'll drop them in their tracks. Fine. We'll bring them down and let them watch our show. Although you cannot move a muscle nor talk, you can all see and hear. So you see, you are an ideal audience. And you, dear fat commissioner, will have the pleasure of seeing me first turn a green mask into stone, and then it will be your daughter's turn. Green mask, you are about to die. You are fortunate to have so distinguished an audience. Ha ha! With a blinding, flashing light, the evil machine is turned on the green mask. And they give us a little Mystery Men Cons on sale about the 15th of every month here. But the story's not quite over yet. Don't believe? Nope. And the green mask is no more. Let us remove him. Then it's the girl's turn. As Nikolai and Tony bend over to untie him, Green Mask grabs him. Shock! I want you two people to meet each other. Interesting way of making an introduction, huh? The Green Mask. Oh, what was that?
I said, yep.
The Green Mask overpowers the dumbfounded Nikolai and Tony. What you didn't know, Nikolai, is that I changed places with Pete and removed the belt which you three wore. As you know, Nikolai, Pete's belt, which I have here, made your paralyzer and machine rays harmless. Wow, he figured that out during his time as Pete. Huh? Quite an interesting bombshell there, huh?
Yep.
uh, how can I ever thank you for saving my life? You're doing it now. Your father and his men are only temporarily paralyzed. They'll be all right in a half hour. Call for an ambulance and more police. And now, gentlemen, I must leave you. Nikolai will cause no more trouble. The Green Mask disappears into the night to further his fight against crime. Follow me in my fight against crime. Don't miss the next thrilling story of the Green Mask in Mystery Men Comics. Now, Tim, I don't know if you knew this or not, but you know what they called vigilante heroes back in this time?
What?
Mystery men.
Oh, that's what they called vigilantes?
Yeah, that's what they called them back in this point in time. They would call them mystery men. Because many of them would wear masks, of course. Um,
I see.
yeah. So, anyways, so there's Rex Dexter, Interplanetary Adventure, Mars Interplanetary Adventure. We move to the Billy Bounce, the Kid Detective, Not Wanted, No Reward. uh, this is more of a humor one here. Chen Chang, Wing Turner, Air Detective, among the headhunters. Oh, that must have been what we saw. His feature. Lieutenant Drake of the Naval Intelligence. What do you Hermlock Sholmes and Dr. Potsam? What do you think of some of this artwork here?
Very cartoony.
Buried Treasure by Albert. Let's see. Captain Savage, Sea Rover. So here's kind of a sailor's story. Blue Beetle.
Ah, the original Blue Beetle.
Yeah. By Charles Nichols. The green light flashes. A newspaper boy starts to cross the street. A powerful car suddenly lurches on to the curb and descends on the terrified youth. The car sends the boy sprawling on the pavement. As quickly as the auto appears, it disappears into the heavy traffic. Script for protection insurance for newsboys. So, Dan Garrett gathers the boy in his arms and rushes him to a hospital. Later, as the youth is convalescing, the young policeman visits him. Gee, Dan, I'm glad you came. I've got something to tell you. Okay, young feller. Let's hear it. Several days ago, two men came to me while I was selling newspapers on my regular corner. One said that I should give them half my salary each week or something might happen to me. I refused. So, what kind of racket would you say this is, Tip?
Um, they're into
Starts with an E.
extortion.
Uh huh. Yep. I think the same men drove the car that hit me. And you say that some friends of yours have been threatened also? Meanwhile, in a highly modernized office, a heavy set man gloats over the evening paper. Highly modernized office. So look at so that was a highly modernized office for 1939. Take a look at it. What do you think there, Tim?
Well, the story is trying to tell you it's a super fancy office.
Hmm. Hmm. You guys ought to be more careful with your driving. You nearly killed a kid. On our next job, we will we will. Those kids are pretty smart. That evening, as a newsboy makes his way through a dark alley, hello, little boy. You remember us? We came to collect some dough. I remember you. I remember you all right. Right, right, all right. You're crooks, and I won't pay you 1 cent. A tough kid, huh? I'll give him some chloroform. The blue beetle. Suddenly, the blue beetle. That's a very good idea. Hello, rats. Can I get in on this little business deal of yours? Yeah, sure. Uh, let's get our heads together. Okay, I guess it. Oh, all right. I think I should have read it. Okay. Suddenly, the blue beetle. Hello, rats. Can I get in on this little business deal of yours? Yeah, sure. Let's get our heads together on this. We can make a lot of dough. That's a very good idea. Bop. All right. Anything to help out the sanitation department. Here, young man. Here, young man, is a whistle for you, and I want you to give one to each of the other boys who were threatened. When you're in any danger, blow it. Gee, thanks. Tim, got anything to say?
Just gee, as long as he's around to hear him.
What was that?
As long as he's around to hear him, how is that supposed to work if he doesn't hear him? What if the whistle breaks?
Yeah, well, I guess we'll see what happens here. Can I can I have a whistle too? Sure. And when those crooks come again, just blow the blue beetle whistle. Let them try and collect now. Bull Blackheart um, calls several tough-looking men into his sumptuous office. I'm offering you guys $500 apiece to make some puny little newsboys pay protection insurance. Sounds easy.
Why would he care if he? Why would he go for something so small as extorting paper boys?
uh, all I can say,
That's
well,
that's
maybe
like removing
this
it. It's like
story. I mean, maybe back you have to remember they were coming out of the depression. Maybe that was a big thing for them back then. They all had all kinds of protection rackets if you think about it. If it wasn't newspapers, newsboys they were hassling. It was store owners or grocery store owners or any of the like. You know, just
it seems as effective as Professor Chaos.
what was that?
I said it seems pretty as pretty. It seems as effective as Professor Chaos. If you get the reference.
I don't get the because I don't even know who Professor Chaos.
That was Butters would become his alter ego, Professor Chaos, and do things like he'd go into a restaurant and switch two bowls of soup around so the wrong table would get to the wrong.
I don't think I read or saw any of that. So
South Park.
oh, South Park. Yeah, I didn't read South Park. I didn't watch South Park. So uh, there are 4 kids in this neighborhood who need a little persuasion. Now do a good job. On a lonely street, the thugs come upon one of the newsboys. Um, I'm I'm gonna push in your fresh face. Make it snappy, Red. Quickly, the boy pulls out his blue beetle whistle and makes a weird sound. Um, Suddenly, a figure in blue comes hurtling upon one of the thugs with a sickening thud. So maybe he planned on being nearby when they blew the whistle. Maybe he was like just hanging around the rooftops, of their route in the event that any of them might blow the whistle. That could be an answer to your earlier question there, Tim, huh?
How big was the city though? He'd still have to hear it.
Well, and how large is there?
I'm sorry, Jimmy. I was in the bathroom. I didn't hear you get well. They beat the crap out of you. Sorry about your face.
Yeah. Well, I think superheroes, whether they be human or alien, tend to have a much stronger constitution than us mere mortals. uh, One of the gangsters draws a gun. I'll get him. And look at that, he takes the guy out with a leg tackle right there. Picking up the gangster who had tried to kill him, the Blue Beetle hurls him at an onrushing thug. Look at that. How do you like this? Help! The battered thugs return to Blackart for their pay envelopes, which the Blue Beetle had emptied. Um, here's your dough. I'm gonna get some guys. You won't be licked by one guy. Ridiculous. As one gangster opens his pay envelope, the Blue Beetle. I'm leaving for Canada. He won't get me. I'm sailing for China. I'm going back to Paris. Suddenly, the door burst open and the police pour in. Ow! Sure, and you're going to jail. Next day, me, the Blue Beetle got away again. Uh, but be careful, Dan, for in your next adventure you will get quite a surprise. Poor old Manigan. Mystery Men Comics is on sale the 15th of every month. So what did you think of that story, Tim?
Pretty basic.
Uh, hmm, all right. Well, anyways, we have one more story to go through here. We'll get to that. I don't know. Actually, if you think about it, the Patio Day story wasn't really a mob story. I don't think. You were commenting how a lot of these just seem to be all like mob stories.
Right, right. That is true. So I mean, there were some variations, but that seems to be more the more common story is
Yeah.
mobsters, mob or crime type is doing this, superhero does that. Yay, they saved the end.
All right, so Zanzibar, the magician in the underworld of Paris by George Tuska. Now, according to RJ, I think George Tuska was actually a pretty well-known comic book creator artist. Three, three murders in 1 week. Several bodies have been found floating on the same river. The bodies were picked up about here, and there's something on the surface of the water. Looks like a man. Great Scott! It's my old friend Sir Cravel of England. This has gone too far. I'll put a stop to these terrible crimes. And I know I'm doing more of a British accent, even though this guy I think is more like Middle Eastern probably. But
It sounds like you're trying to do Scottish.
okay, Scottish. But it's the best I can do here. um, in his effort to trap the murderer, Zanzibar takes on the form of the late Sir Cravel. Zanzibar is a magician here, so now to get to work. When I come up on the guilty, on the very expression on his face at seeing Sir Cravel again will spell his doom. As Zanzibar walks through the slums of Paris, Sir Cravel! The frightened Apache dashes to his hideout. I've escaped him. I've escaped him. Little does he realize that I'm right behind him. Meanwhile, in the underground den, I tell ya, I've seen him. We my own eyes. No, nonsense. You were dreaming. Listen. We need more money. You know what to do. Get it the usual way. Now to surprise the lady. As if from nowhere, Zanzibar suddenly appears before Simone. Sir Crabble! Zanzibar. Oh, you see that right there? Look at the upper left-hand corner here. This magazine was a little worn. This comic was a little worn here.
I could tell. I can tell.
And you got like what looks like some kind of watermark up in the upper right hand corner there too, a little bit, or something to that effect. Something that would indicate wear and tear. Zanzibar recites some magic words. Zat Kai, and the murderess is transformed into a skeleton. Whoa, that's got to be horrifying for her. All of a sudden, she's a skeleton. All of her skin gone. That's got to be quite a horrifying sight.
You're sure that's not Lindsay Lohan?
Oh boy. Don't know why or where that came from, but what are you saying that Lindsay Lohan is starving herself to the point that she's becoming a skeleton herself?
That was the joke many years ago.
Huh. Um, Zanzibar questions the terrified woman. Uh, where are your men? At the sewer tunnels near the Seine. Zanzibar arrives at a sewer tunnel. So this is where this so this is the way they do it. The magician changes back to himself. I got his money. Throw his body in the sewer. They killed him before I could get here. I'll follow them. Oh,
Yeah,
what can?
it falls back to fighting criminals.
Well,
And
this one isn't exactly. This one isn't exactly like a as much mafia here. This is more just. This just basically a bot. This isn't like the big like mafioso like some of the other.
yeah, it's run of the mill criminals trying to rob somebody in a sewer.
Yeah. The Apaches toss the body into the rushing water. But then, a lot of these earlier heroes too were dealing more with with criminal masterminds or criminal bosses. Maybe they weren't all um, mafiosos or anything like that, or the mob as much, but
Yeah.
but this one is robbery, where like one of the other ones was extortion.
Right.
You know, um, then you had armored car robbery. So similar, but not necessarily the same. Um, here, here's where I come in. Hey, you! An Apache rushes towards Zanzibar, but the magician stops him with a terrific right. Seeing how easily Zanzibar overpowered their comrade, they flee. To, to the secret passage, quick! Oops, excuse me. Zanzibar arrives just as the heavy bars slide shut. Zanzibar gestures, and strangely enough, the bars disappear. This must be the passage to Simone's headquarters. As the Apaches enter the room, they stare in awe at the strange appearance of Simone. What is this? Where is she? I am here. It's me, Simone. You, you shall all meet the same fate when Zanzibar catches up with you. She look horrible. I will not stay here. I'm going to shoot myself. Oh, the bad guy doesn't want to be turned into a skeleton, so he figured he'd just kill himself anyway. He just off.
Yeah.
What logic, right?
It's like, oh, I'm gonna go kill myself now. Yeah.
I'd sooner die than become like her. Pretty much says that in the same instance.
And there they are shooting each other.
They draw their guns and fire at each other. Meanwhile, Zanzibar enters the room as the shots are fired. They have done it. Yes, indeed. Your hypnotic influence. I've ordered the 4 men to kill themselves. Zanzibar stares at the skeleton, and she returns to her former self. I'm sorry, madam, but I'll have to take you to the prefect of police. I thought I was too clever to ever get caught. I know now that crime never pays. That was a common statement you'd hear back then.
Message.
Follow Zanzibar in the next issue of Mystery Men Comic. Mystery Men Comic is on sale about the 15th of every month. Oh, there you go.
Until we cancel the series or sell the characters to some other company.
Which will be years into the future. There's an ad for Wonder World Comics, the other comic we read tonight. Oh, there we go. So overall, Tim, what was your overall impressions of the material tonight?
What you expect from comic books of that time period.
Oh yeah, we since we focused a bit more on superheroes, of course they were dealing more with like regular criminals.
I don't think any of these creators were thinking about being innovative or expanding the medium yet. I think they were just about getting.
They were just trying to get their characters off the ground. I mean, like Blue Beetle, for example, he would he'd go through some changes here, right? For the most part, he was just simply just a normal guy in a suit. In fact, kind of funny, in his first appearance in Mystery Men Comics #1, he was much like a few others, like Green Hornet, like Crimson Avenger, like Sandman. Where they'd wear the business suit, they'd wear the fedora, and they'd have a mask on of some type. That was Dan Garrett's very first appearance. and then they changed. Then and I think in Mystery Men 2 is when Mystery Men 2 they changed into like the costume. You kind of saw that the more kind of traditional costume, and they would later reveal that the costume that that eventually settled on was made of chainmail. That's why you see it with all the kind of grinds on it and all that.
Yeah, yeah. I kind of figured.
Yeah. So, anyways, we're at an hour 40 now, and I got through all the materials. So, is there anything more you wanted to say on anything, Tim, on any of the stuff we read on or anything like that tonight?
I'm looking forward to get when you get more into the 40s to see what the changes were. Where there definitely was a shift in comic books in the 40s because of World War II.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there was that. Sure. Right now, of course, as we were saying, that it's still, they're still building up the inventory here. A number of comic book companies, came into existence here in '39, including Marvel, Archie, under different titles. Like Marvel started out as Timely, Archie started out, I think, can't remember off the top of my head. Harvey started out as Brook World, I believe. We also had Fawcett coming into existence at that point. A little later on here, when we get into November, I believe a couple of more well-known characters will start showing up on the pages, but we'll wait till we get there. Still quite a bit of ways away, but all right. Well, with that, and if you can stick around after the show too, for post show, what have you, um, just take care of some stuff. I think I'm going to start going ahead, winding down here since we're at hour 42 now. So I think I'll get to this day in Nietzsche history. And I see you're muted.
Yes, I had
All
to
right.
blow in my nose, and I have heavy breathing, so I don't like. I'm self-conscious about the thing.
1999, 2003, 2018, and then 1963. Okay. All right. So without any further ado, going to take today being Friday, March the 24th, 2023. We're going to take a look back this day in Nietzsche history. History! So first off, we're going to actually head back 60 years ago. And on this date, 60 years ago today, Toei's The Little Prince and the Eight-Headed Dragon, an anime movie from that time, a Japanese animated fantasy adventure film, premiered on this, premiered in Japanese theaters on this date back in 1963. So on this date, 60 years ago today, Toei's The Little Prince and the Eight-Headed Dragon premiered in Japanese theaters on this date back in 1963 under the Toei Doga name of the studio. What we now know of today as Toei Animation. So there we go with that one. Moving on to the next piece of Nietzsche history. We head all the way up to 1999, I believe. Yep. As on this date in 1999, which was, of course, 24 years ago today, the 20th issue of 8 Ball from Fantagraphics went on sale on this date back in 1999. It sold for $4.50 with 32 pages. David Boring was, I guess, the writer there. Looks like a pretty mature comic, to say the least. Hey, Tim?
Yeah. Oh, wait, hold on. Scroll down a little bit.
What?
Just scroll down a little bit.
I'll scroll down.
Yeah, I'm not getting the whole picture. It could possibly be. We don't know what the inner content is.
Yeah, but well, this is from Fantagraphics, and back in 1999, the 20th issue of 8 Ball ran for 3 more issues after this. But um, anyway, so 24 years ago today, the 20th issue of 8 Ball from Fantagraphics um, went on sale on this date. So getting ready to move on to the next piece of niche history, and we move ahead to 2003 on this date 20 years ago today. WWE held its Monday Night Raw event from the Arco Arena in Sacramento, California. This was the go home edition of Raw heading into WrestleMania that year. On the night, the main event saw Kane and Rob Van Dam defeat the Dudley Boys, Bubba Ray and Devon Dudley, in a World Tag Team Title #1 contendership match. We also saw Booker T and Goldust defeat Ric Flair and Triple H. Scott Steiner defeat Christian, and then Jeff Hardy and Trish Stratus win in a mixed tag match over Steven Richards and Victoria. On this date, 20 years ago in 2003, WWE had its Monday Night Raw event from the Arco Arena in Sacramento, California. This was the go home Raw. This was the go home Raw before WrestleMania that year, and WrestleMania this year is coming up pretty quick too, because not this weekend, but next weekend, April 1st and 2nd will be this year's WrestleMania 39. But with that, moving on to the last piece of niche history, as it were. On this date in 2018, the English dub version of Pokemon the Series Sun and Moon Ultra Adventures premiered on Disney XD on this date back in 2018. So 5 years ago today, the English dub version of Pokemon the Series Sun and Moon Ultra Adventures would premiere on Disney XD. So there we go. So, and as I asked him if you can stick around after the show because we're about to wrap up.
Yeah, I can.
All right, everybody. I thank everybody for being here tonight. Thank you guys for the likes and the shares. Hope you guys enjoyed the content here. So we'll be back here, of course, on Sunday with our panel. Hopefully, Tim, you can join us on the panel. I'll send you the link Sunday morning. Yep. Then when we come back on Monday, of course, Mondays to Thursdays are Niche Newscast. And then next Friday, of course, will be RJ Carter from Critical Blast will be joining me, as we will be introducing you guys to Lev Gleason. I believe we'll be reading from Silver Streak Volume 1, Number 1. Plus, we'll be talking a little bit about Lev Gleason, how they came into existence. So until Sunday, guys, bye!
Bye!